this section's all about florals. The first lesson I'm going to be demonstrating to you how to draw this leaf. It's the underside of a leaf, and you can see all the veins really clearly on it. So we're going to be using the embossing tool just to pick out those main veins before we start. So I'm just going to press on really hard with it on this larger area up the main stem. So that's the brightest, whitest bit we want to keep. I'm just going to show you this area around the bottom of the leaf and just work that little bit up. Obviously you'd work the whole leaf up in the same way. And I'll just pick out as well these very fine vein lines. It might be a bit hard to pick up on the camera, but you can see them clearly on the reference photograph. And I'm just going to get rid of all the graphite. Now I've marked that in. There we go. For this demonstration I'm using Prismacolor pencils on hot press watercolour paper. I'm going to start out with a lemon yellow and just give a light coat all over. Then I'm swapping to a chartreuse green. I'm just going to use the side of my crayon to try and pick out some of those veins. Now it's just given me enough to see where they all are now. And you can't really see the tiniest bits of embossing yet because this colour's still too pale, but from how close I am I can see them enough to know they're there just yet. I think that's a bit I forgot. Put that one in. I'm going to swap to a mid-green now. This is olive green. I'm going to start putting in the darker areas around the edge. And you can see when I layer it up on top of that chartreuse I'm getting a lovely, really vibrant leaf green. I'm just doing a very light coat with this one. You should start to see those embossed edges soon. There. I'm noticing that to the right of each of these veins is a darker area, like a shadow cast up from it. And the same under this main stem. Hopefully you can see those embossed lines now starting to really show up. I'm going to go back to chartreuse and go over some of it to blend in that darker green. And you can see I can be quite slapdash colouring over them, and they still preserve the line underneath. I'm going to come to this grass green now. Putting in these darker areas on the underside of the stem. So I'm going to take that colour over some of these embossed lines just a bit to put it into an area of shadow. I'm going to go back to my olive green just to tone it down a bit. I think it's just a bit too bright at the minute. I've got a very sharp nib on my pencil. I'm going to just run into some of those embossed lines, because just where the shadow falls over it, I want to cover them up. I'm just going to switch now to indigo blue and really put some depth into this dark shadow under the stem. And now I'm just going to take some colour into some of these, just to tone them down a bit. Touch of orange in those shadows, just to make them less blue. And back to olive green. Just going to give it a final coat to bring it all together. Just a touch more orange in these shadows. And then if you were going to work up the whole leaf, you just carry on in exactly the same way. And any areas that you think the veins are standing out too much, that the embossing is too distinct, you just lightly fill in with some colour. And there we go. How to use embossing to get the veining in a leaf.